We have We have received a couple of questions for several of the speakers. So starting with the first questions from Eric Weyland. Are there specific studies for hot and humid climates like in the ASEAN zone?
The first question, for the ASEAN zone, I think that can be answered. I'm sure that there are. I know a few. Actually, I would like to say that in the 2 Cool Roof conferences that we did, we had a strong participation from the ASEAN area. But if Michele would like to add something.
I just would say that for sure there are several, I would say many studies about cool roof in Asian countries, but I am not aware of really case studies implementation with monitored building and whatever.
Thank you, Michele.
Okay, another question from Segis Verdager. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. How do you know the solar reflectance and the infrared emittance of the existing roofing? Is there any equipment to measure such parameters, or is it only done by estimations?
Thank you, Mariana. I think this is not done by estimations. This is done by measurements, and I think it's Aphrodite the best person to answer that.
Yes, Dania, thank you. If you want to measure the solar reflectance and infrared emittance on site, you have several options. If you have a large enough area, you can use a pyranometer, a double pyranometer, in order to measure the solar reflectance. And you can also use the portable emissimeter devices in order to measure the emissivity. Otherwise, if it is possible, you could take a sample from the existing roof and measure it in the lab with the methodologies and instrumentation that I mentioned in my presentation.
Thank you, Aphrodite.
If I can add something, Michele Zinzi is speaking concerning the emissivity. Unless there are metallic surfaces, the infrared emissivity is always close to 0.9. So this is a rule of thumb that can be accepted in most cases.
Exactly, Michele, but also if someone would like to measure that on site, there are also existing devices.
Yes.
Yes, but of course we can use 0.9 in all cases as a rule of thumb. Thank you, Aphrodite and Michele. Mariana, are there any more questions?
Yes, we have 3 questions from Clara Ferrer. The first one is if we can expect cool facades too.
I'm sure that we can expect cool facades and also smart facades. I think that also Rebecca or Michele would like to add something. Michele?
I just would like to add that there are work going on about cool facade, even if in principle the roof, because the position of the sun during the summer is the surface of the building with the highest energy potentials.
Rebecca, would you like to add something on that? No? Aphrodite? No.
There are some case studies in the US that have used cool facades. They are available on the internet. If you Google that, you can find some results, yes. But there is a development process now, and as Denia said, new multifunctional coatings are in the process of development. For facades,
Sorry.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, Denia. There was a problem with my phone just then. I was just trying to say that a lot of our partners at the moment are developing cool facade coatings, particularly for large buildings, apartment blocks, that type of thing, where the wall area is significantly greater than the roof. And obviously I mentioned about the AFNOR standards in France, and that applies to the facade. If the Y index is less than 35, the solar reflectance must be greater than 30. So that there is a lot of interest out there already for cool facade coatings.
Thank you all. Mariana, are there any more questions? You said
Yes,
there are 3.
the second question from Clara Ferrer. Is there any tool to quickly evaluate the expected energy savings and or the comfort for a particular case?
Excuse me? Is there a tool?
Is there any tool to quickly evaluate? Tool, yes.
Yeah, okay. There are tools available. Then I would like to Michele, can you answer that, please? Because we've done together some work on the tools.
Yes, actually during the co-roof project I mentioned during my presentation, there is mainly Denia developed a calculator to assess the energy performance and the energy savings potentialities of co-roof under several climatic conditions and other boundary conditions. And for what I know, there is also a calculator developed in the United States.
Thank you, Michele. But at this point, to evaluate the comfort in a building, you have to use a simulation tool, for example, Energy Plus or Transys. I don't know that if there is a simple tool that you can evaluate the comfort and energy savings on the same time.
It does not exist for what it
does not exist, yeah.
Good. The last question from Clara, but we have some more from other people. What is the average payback for a cool roof in Mediterranean climates?
The average payback for commercial products is very low. It's 3 years, maybe sometimes depends on the building's conditions. Of course, there's insulation or not, but it's low. And actually, the most beneficial, especially for residential buildings, is the impact on indoor comfort. It's a relief, especially the hot days, hot summer days in the Mediterranean. I don't know if somebody else would like to add something on the payback. Rebecca, would you like to?
Yeah, I think it can be, depending on the climatic region, some of our partners estimate that it can be less than a year, up to, as you mentioned, 3 years, Denia. It really does depend on whether you're replacing the roof as a matter of a refurbishment schedule, or whether you're adding cost by updating the roof that way. So it really does depend on the building itself.
Exactly.
Very good. Very interesting. Also, another question from Iraklis Katrinakis again. What would you recommend for a building without insulation? Would you recommend roof installation, cool roof, or both? What is the percentage of the reduction in the cooling loads when we apply cool roof systems to a high insulation roof?
Thank you, Mariana. I think Michele is the best person to answer that, because he also mentioned something about insulation in his presentation. Michele, would you like to?
Assessing the potentialities of roof in general is quite complicated, because it's strictly dependent to climatic condition and on the building condition. And of course, roof are energy savings technology in summer, but it gives energy penalties in winter because you cut solar gain. So it's very difficult to answer this question as a general remark. What we found out that in the Mediterranean countries, roof are a very good solution for not insulated building, maybe not going to the highest value of solar reflectance. In the case of Trapani, we applied a cool coating of 82% as a solar reflectance. But at the end of the process, when we made all the calculation, we estimated that the most performing solution would have had a solar reflectance of 70%. So more in general, I would say that keeping the idea of reducing heating and heating demand and cooling demand, the best solution is to apply both roof techniques as well as roof insulation. And concerning the percentage of the reduction in cooling load, there is a reduction of the energy savings with roof insulation, but of course it's still relevant, as we found out in the different case studies we carried out during the project.
I fully agree with Michele. I think I would go for both. I don't know if I think we have covered that answer that question. Mariana, are there any more questions?
No, Dania, there are no more questions at this point. May I just remind everyone that the webinar recordings and the discussion around the questions will be made available on BuildUp, and also to recommend participants to visit the BuildUp community on cool roofs, where they can find additional interesting information. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for intervening. I received a question that was not posted on the question and answer panel, but in the chat panel, just for me, from Abdelkrim Chenak. The question is, what about the performance of these cool roof products in dusty regions like Sahara?
Okay. We don't have a case study in Sahara. Actually, we have case studies in ASEAN, in Japan, but in Sahara, I don't know exactly case study. You mean in Sahara urban area, I suppose. I'm sure that they're going to work for hot arid climates because it's regardless the humidity. But I'm not aware of any case study in this region. I'm sorry.
Oh, if I can give some more information, we started since 1.5 years some measurements on the aging of the material in very polluted urban environment like Rome and Milan. What we have seen that there is a decay of the solar reflectance over the period, and but in most cases, after cleaning well the materials, they recover not to the initial properties, but they recover quite well. In general, after 2 years, we checked that the reflectance decreased by 10% about respect to the initial value after cleaning.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Or
yes, we actually just received another question, if we have some more minutes. Do I see? From Rafael Melendez, what about the durability of the cool roofs, particularly in salt spray ocean environments? I don't know if you have any experience with that.
Yes.
Dania, do you want me to?
Yes, please. Please, Rebecca.
Yes. Huntsman are working with a range of mainly coating producers quite widely, well, globally in fact. And one customer has produced extensive durability tests in high UV, salt spray and sandy wind environments, and they were astounded at the difference between the cool coating, cool roof system and the standard, and quite amazed at the colour retention, the gloss retention, and the solar reflectivity retention of the cool roof. So from that point of view, you know, there is a lot of testing that's happened, and companies are pleased, very pleased with the results. Same in China as well.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yes, and also we have to mention that cool roofs are rated for their initial characteristics and also after 3 years performance. So in order to have a product rated, you need to have a specific weathering test farms, as Aphrodite mentioned, and you know exactly how they are going to perform in 3 years after they are staying in the outdoor environment, in specific environments, also ocean environments. Are there any more questions, Mariana?
Yes, and I propose to close the question session with this one from Eric Wayland. Is there an influence of the slope of the roof on the performance of cool roofs?
Of course there is, and it's taken into account, and we have for the calculations for low slope and steep slope roofs. Would you like, Michele or Aphrodite, would like to add something on this question? Michele?
Well, not specifically about the technologies, just in general related to the building characteristic. That with a slope roof, we often have an heated and uncooled attic. so most of the energy and environmental performance might be located in the attic instead of really inside the building.
Exactly. Aphrodite, would you like to add something and close the...
Yes, of course, as you already mentioned, there is a difference between steep and slope roofs concerning the performance, but also the properties of the material. So usually you do not expect to have very high solar reflectance on steep slope roofs that are visible from the street, and this is the reason why cool colored materials for roofs have been developed.
Thank you. I think that we answered the questions. Mariana, I don't know if you want to add something on that?
No, it's fine with me. No more questions.
Okay, thank you. Then we are going to close this webinar. We would like to thank you all for being here and to have all this very interesting discussion, especially during the questions that you posed. We hope that we responded to your questions adequately. Thank you very much.
Thank you also on behalf of Build Up, which organized and hosted the event. Thanks to all the speakers, everyone who participated, and to the questions. And to answer also verbally what was posed in writing, the presentations will be available in a couple of weeks along with the videos from the presentations in Build Up. Everyone who participated will receive a notification in the email that you provided during the registration. And of course, you can also join Build Up and register there so that you can be notified of future webinars as well. Thank you very much.